This video will take you through how to create a photo edit inspired by the black and white urban photography work of Paul Politis. As you can see on the screen, there's two examples there of his work that he produces. He's a Canadian photographer and he calls his work the geometry of the mundane. He likes to capture everyday urban scenes which might seem quite ordinary and try to capture them from a new viewpoint, and use black and white as a way of really bringing out some of the aesthetic and artistic qualities in urban architecture. So we're going to have a go at producing an edit in his style. You'll be using photographs you've taken from your urban photo shoots so far, and you want to choose a photograph that's perhaps of an image that's probably quite an ordinary everyday image, an object that you might have seen and around in your travels. I've chosen this photograph of a step railing. The metal step railing is actually in school. Very everyday object that you actually probably don't really notice very much from day to day. And I've photographed it obviously from a particular viewpoint, capturing kind of like the detail of the rusting metal, and also I've shown depth of field within the shots where the foreground is very much in focus and the background goes into a defocused area using that narrow depth of field. Now we're going to do an edit in his style, like I say, and we're going to use it as a black and white image. So the first thing you need to do once you've opened it up in Photopea is to create it as a black and white. So first of all, if you just go to Image, Adjustments, and if you use your black and white tool, or you can use your hue saturation tool, just click on that one first of all, black and white, and then here you can see how you can instantly create a black and white image, and you can vary the amount of red, yellow, cyan in there, and that will affect your lighter and darker areas, your shadow tones, your highlights and your midtones. But I'm just going to keep it pretty much standardized as that and press OK. The next thing I want to do now is to actually enhance some of the tones within the image. So I'm now going to go back up to Image, and I'm going to now go to Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Curves. The Curves tool will allow me to vary the amount of lightness and darkness within different areas of the photograph. And you can see on the Curves tool there's a graph there that shows basically where the different balances of mid, shadow and highlights are, and I can then begin to move and drag the graph to kind of bring out some of the darker areas. Towards the bottom of the graph you'll affect more of the shadow areas. Between the middle of the graph it might begin to affect more of the mid-tones, and the top of the graph you can begin to vary some of the light tones in there. So what I'm trying to do here is just try to bring out a little bit more depth and darkness into the image there. And this is basically a little bit more of kind of your taste and how you want to create the image. So I'm going to go with something just like that. I'm now going to press OK. So for me that's now just brought out some of the detail within that. The final thing to do with this then would be to use something called Dodge and Burn, and this allows us to paint with light and dark shadows and to create and bring out some more aspects of the photograph. You will find Dodge and Burn down the left hand side, and this looks a tool just looks something like this. This is the Dodge tool. If I press and hold on my mouse you will see the Burn tool. There's also a sponge tool there, but we're going to be using these Dodge and Burn tools. So I'm going to use the Burn tool first of all. The Burn tool is just like a brush. You can vary the size of the Burn tool, and you can probably just see a little circle there appear. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger, and I'm going to take the hardness from 100% down to 0 because I want it to be a very soft shadowy effect. Make that a little bit bigger there. Okay, and what I'm going to do with the Burn tool is I'm just going to create first of all what we call a little vignette, a kind of little shadowy edge around the edge of the photograph. And just by clicking and holding my mouse and painting in, I'm just trying to create a little bit more kind of atmosphere and depth into the image just around the edge of that there. And then I'm going to then go back to my Dodge tool, press and hold on the menu there, sorry, from the Burn, and go to my Dodge tool here. The Dodge tool does the exact same thing, but rather than paint with shadow, you're going to paint with highlights. So again, you can see the size of the brush there. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger. And I just want to maybe just bring out, just use the Dodge tool. Oops, sorry, I've just not adjusted the hardness. Let me just undo that. Go back to the tool there. Just take the hardness down to 0. There we go, that's better. Make the size a bit bigger again. And I'm now just going to, like I said, just paint a lighter area just around, just very softly around the metal railing, just to kind of bring that out a little bit more from that darker area there. And again, you don't want to do this too much. It's just a very subtle effect. You want to just try to create that kind of slight little glow. So there I have now my completed Paul Politis inspired black and white shot. An image that shows the geometry of the mundane, very everyday image, using his black and white moody tones. So what I'd like you to do now is have a go at producing something similar yourself and submit that as part of your urban photography project. Thanks everyone.